Hi, I'm Amy Lee Miller. Welcome to Empower Hour Topic Sessions. Really excited about today's topic. I wonder if I say that every week. Of course, I'm passionate about everything that I talk about. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be talking about it. But I just like to share success habits that have helped me with the goal, of course, of helping others. So today, I want to talk about how you can succeed faster by getting to know yourself better. And I'm going to talk about three specific things or ways you can do that and things to focus on. So one is by identifying your drivers, and I will explain what I mean by that. Another is to focus on, well, to get curious. I talk about curiosity a lot, but a lot of times we will have these little fleeting moments of things that we're curious about, but we don't take that next step and act on it. And I'm going to talk about, and I'll give some examples if there's time, of how that can be super significant, those little twinges or moments of curiosity. And then the third piece, so driver's curiosity, the third thing that you want to use, get to know yourself better about as well, is frustration. Our frustration can be a powerful tool when we utilize it properly. So sometimes you really do want to take a moment to sit with the discomfort and focus on the frustration, because that a lot of times we'll discount something that frustrates us. And again, just like our curiosity, we don't take it a step further. And so it ends up being this fleeting thought. But when something is showing up that is bothering you, it is happening for a reason. And we want to pay attention to that, because on the other side of that frustration is a better path, a better process. So it's a solution to your problem, which we find by focusing on the problem. So first, let's talk about your drivers. This is one exercise that I have each of my clients do, and it is, I call it identify your drivers. And you've probably heard me talk about before, you want to lead with what lights you up. So what's underlying with each of these three concepts, and with many more likely when it comes to self-development and success, is paying attention to your emotions, the way, and honoring how you feel. However you feel is always okay. But anyhow, in terms of leading with what lights you up, there are certain things, certain activities, certain emotions that light you up, that make you feel excited, that make you feel energized. And then when you are doing those things, you feel like you are in your best energy. And that's when you're going to be magnetic. And of course, we're all different. So we enjoy different things. We need different things. So then there's those activities or those emotions or those just certain things that deplete our energy. We don't like those things. We don't want to do those things. In identifying what drives you, and I believe that your drivers, I made this up. So one of my clients asked me today, who came up with the three drivers? Well, I did. I made it up. But it really works. It's powerful. I believe that we each have 2 to 3 drivers. Okay. So for example, and I'll share with you what mine are to break it down and make it a little bit easier to understand the concept. I believe a driver is an activity or a way that you want to feel. So either an activity that you're doing or a way that you need to feel. And by identifying what yours are, you can then give yourself what you need. So let me back up a little bit. My drivers, for example, these are ways that I need to feel and things that I need to be doing in order to feel like my best self. These things make me feel really, really good. And then I'm projecting goodness out there. I'm getting goodness back. So one for me is freedom. I need to feel free. And then another for me is self-expression. I'm a writer. Obviously, I'm a speaker as well. So I need to be doing some writing and some speaking. And then the other thing that's really key for me, that drives me, that helps me feel really good and fulfilled, is helping others. And I like to do that through my self-expression. So my 3 drivers are freedom, self-expression, and helping others. So I encourage you to, if you're watching and you're kind of curious about this, I encourage you to brainstorm on your drivers, what drives you. And the reason is, if you know what you need, you can give that to yourself, and then you're going to feel fulfilled. And you're also going to feel more empowered, because that's what empowerment is, when we learn to give ourselves what we need. And when we get to know ourselves better, what we need. So I also need some time alone to re-energize. So I like to be around people, but if it's nonstop, I'm going to get really tired and worn out, and I need to spend some time alone to re-energize. So when I was younger, I didn't understand that about myself. And so I lost some friends because I didn't respond that great in situations, because when I was tired, when I was around too many people, like when I had roommates and they would have a bunch of people over, I would get in a really bad mood, but I didn't know why. 20s are not fun. We're learning about ourselves. Gets better as you get older. If you pay attention to getting to know yourself better, and you can give yourself what you need, you're naturally going to get happier. So in paying attention to what drives you, here's the last thing I'll say about drivers for right now. Once you discover what yours are, the goal is to give yourself a little bit of that each day, even if it's only an hour. Let's say your job does not excite you, but there's another activity that does, like playing music or writing or soccer, whatever it is. If you give yourself, that hour a day, or, 4 times a week, you're going to feel good. And then you're going to have more energy and focus when it's time to do those other things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you have to do. So by learning to give yourself what you need, what drives you, you're going to succeed faster, because you're going to have more energy. You're going to be more focused because you're more fulfilled. When we're not feeling fulfilled, when something is bothering us, when we don't recognize what it is we need, there's no way to give that to ourselves. So we're agitated. And what that means is then we're working with a distracted focus. So identify your drivers. If you have questions on that, definitely reach out. I love talking about that. Curiosity. This is a big one too. So a lot of times we will have myself, I recognize this in myself, and then also in others that I talk to as well. Maybe you have a moment, like a little twinge of curiosity. I want to reach out to that person. I'm curious about their career, how they did, how they got to the place where they are. But then maybe we choose not to act on it. No, I don't want to bother them. They probably think my question is stupid. That's an example of ignoring your intuition that is drawing you, making you curious about something for a reason. Because that reaching out to that person, it might give you a new idea. Somebody reached out to me a while back because she was curious about recruiting, and she wanted to ask me about it. Well, she's now recruiting. She listened to that curiosity. She learned a little bit, then she started researching. She kept leaning into that curiosity, and now she's doing it, and that makes her really happy. But I also speak with people who ignore that curiosity. And that's ignoring your intuition, and that's going to lower your self-esteem because you're denying yourself. It's also going to delay success because your curiosity is your intuition drawing you in a direction that is meant for you to go. It could be a new career path. It could be just an experience that leading you toward an experience that ends up changing your perspective on something. Or maybe it's an experience that's a really bad experience, but you learn something valuable from it. I can think of a lot of those. I had this, I'm not going to share that one. I'm going to share this one, a positive one. So I came across somebody's content that I found interesting. And my initial instinct was reach out to them. And then, of course, my second thought, so you have intuition and then fear. What am I afraid of? But I don't know. I think, not that I was afraid of anything, big, but just that I don't yet know the outcome. So fear can be that small because we don't know the outcome. It's something new and different. But I went ahead with my intuition and said, I'm going to go ahead and reach out. What ended up happening was I had a great conversation. It was fun. It was engaging. It was dynamic. It was uplifting. I learned some things. This is a stranger who I was interested in their content, and they were willing to have a conversation with me. And that conversation ended up changing my perspective in an area of my life that needed that last little push that I needed to switch. And so that ended up being really significant. And if I didn't lean into that curiosity, I just wouldn't have finished that lesson yet. I wouldn't have changed my perspective. That's an example of delaying success. Hopefully I'm not getting too deep here. Hopefully this stuff makes sense. But I just really encourage you, whenever you have a curiosity, lean into that, do that thing, especially if it seems illogical, do the thing. Okay. So that's an example of you using your curiosity to help you succeed faster. And then the third piece that I wanted to talk about is focusing on your frustration. People get business ideas. People, change laws, make huge impacts huge changes that impact many, many people, not just themselves, or sometimes just themselves, by focusing on the frustration. Because if something is bothering you, there's a reason. There's a reason that thing is showing up. And a lot of times we ignore it. until it gets really, really big and it's too big to ignore. Like if we're in a relationship that's just really not the right thing, or if we're in a job that we hate, we just push away the frustration and just keep our head down and moving forward with what we're focusing on until it gets too big and we're too unhappy. But you don't have to do that. When you learn to better pay attention to your emotions, you can respond faster, and then you can succeed faster in getting yourself out of the problem, in improving that area of your life. So if something is bothering you, I like to say, focus on the frustration, ask yourself, okay, wait a minute, what is bugging me? Like really focus on it and see if you can identify it. Then take it a step further. Why is this bothering me? That is getting to know yourself better. When you learn, and this happened for me recently, a couple not that long ago, something was bothering me. And I'm not usually carrying around feelings of agitation anymore these days. I mean, I've just done so much work on myself that I'm pretty happy. So, but I was like, okay, what is going on? Why is this bothering me? And the more I thought about it, kind of the more irritated I got, which might not sound useful, but it actually was, because I got curious about why I was frustrated. And then I identified something that I need to change. And so that's really empowering. Practicing all of these and paying attention to each of these things. What drives you? What keeps pinging sparking your curiosity? What keeps showing up that's frustrating you? When you get curious about why and you go deeper into these things, you learn about yourself. Then you can give yourself what you need. Then you can make different choices that are going to be better for you. And all of that is empowering. Self-empowerment is learning to give yourself what it is you need. And that's how you become unstoppable. Because when we can give ourselves what we need, guess what? We don't need anybody else's approval. We don't need to go outside of ourselves. We can create our own success. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Reach out if you have any questions, and I'll get brainstorming and what I want to talk about next week. Thanks for watching.